There are an enormous amount of factors that drives every human to have sex. Especially now where the concept of sex has grown beyond penis and vagina intercourse within the context of marriage for procreation. It has quite expanded to a more complex subject. Sexual activity today is no longer legally or morally restricted to marriage only. Sex occurs between unmarried romantic partners, friends with benefits, and people of varying sexual orientations, with the purpose of sex being expanded with procreation being just one possibility. People now see sex as a form of recreation, a way to express love or get closer to a partner, a way to celebrate special occasions, and for some, a way to make money. This video isn't about what is the right or wrong thing but an exposition to know what your sex drive is, so also that of your partners. Because we ought to acknowledge the fact that every single sexual act is a result of several factors put together. Some of these factors are transitory, meaning they can change from moment to moment, whereas others are relatively stable characteristics we carry with us throughout our lives. Before we begin, consider subscribing and hitting that like button. It's completely free for you, doesn't cost you anything, but it tremendously helps out our channel. Now, let's discuss some of these different factors and the ways they can impact human sexual decision-making and behavior. These factors are categorized into psychological influences, cultural and societal influences, and biological and evolutionary influences. Psychological influences. 1. Personality. The personality of an individual is a very stable characteristic that can affect the nature and frequency of our sexual activities. The way an extroverted fun seeker would want to engage in sexual activity would be different from an introvert who would like to play it safe. Someone with high openness to experience is most likely to have lower sexual anxiety. One with low conscientiousness is likely to have unprotected sex and combining alcohol and drugs with sex. Agreeableness is a personality trait for someone caring and compassionate about other people. Generally friendly and helpful. So, one with low agreeableness is likely to have casual sex with someone other than one's romantic partner and combining drugs and alcohol with sex. 2. Learned association. Each of us associates something different with sex, based upon our prior learning experiences. For example, for a person that was previously rewarded with social acceptance for engaging in this activity, sex is more likely to occur, compared to a person whose perceived risk of contracting a sexually transmitted infection appears high. Or if one's previous sexual experiences have been bad, sex is less likely to occur. Similarly, if someone has a negative attitude towards sex or a given partner, the odds of sexual activity decrease. In contrast, positive attitudes are likely to increase sexual activity, even in cases where that person might not necessarily be in the mood. 3. Mood state. The factor varies from moment to moment as regards its influence on sex. When someone is in a negative mood or is highly distracted, not only is that person likely less inclined to have sex, but the sex they do have will probably be less satisfying. Positive mood states and low levels of distraction tend to generate an opposite pattern of effects. Cultural and societal influences. 1. Society. Practically, all societies around the world regulate sexuality in one form or another, effectively establishing standards for what should be regarded as sexually normal and deviant among certain groups of people. However, there is huge variability in these standards. For example, although most industrialized societies today have established a norm of sexual monogamy, there are other cultures that not only permit but explicitly encourage a free exchange of sex partners, even within marriage. 2. Religion. The early religions viewed sex in similar terms, that is, as a sinful activity that should only exist within the confines of marriage, and promoted gender roles characterized by male dominance and female submissiveness. According to Islam, a religion that spread throughout the Middle East and Asia a few centuries after the birth of Christianity, intercourse within marriage is seen as a religious deed and is viewed positively. It is seen as a higher state than remaining single and celibate. Muslims are in many ways more restrictive when it comes to gender. For example, in a high proportion of Muslim societies past and present, female modesty in clothing is mandated, and women have very few rights. They may not even be permitted to leave their homes unless accompanied by their husband or a male relative. 3. Science and popular media. Science and the popular media play very large roles. Television and movies, songs, advertisements, newspapers, magazines, as well as the internet. Because of the media's omnipresence in our everyday lives, it has multiple opportunities to affect us in very visual and dramatic ways. Sexualized media depictions have contributed to some profound changes in sexual attitudes and behaviors over the past few decades. A vast selection of sexual information and pornography is now available for free at the click of a button. So, people can readily obtain sexually explicit material that they might otherwise be unable to get, and they can avoid potential embarrassment by doing it in the privacy of their own homes. However, the internet has done much more than that. It has also opened up the world of online dating and hookups, not to mention sexual self-expression through webcams and mobile phones via cybersex and sexting. Biological and evolutionary influences. 1. Biological. Biological factors refer primarily to an individual's genetic makeup and hormone levels. For instance, research has increasingly shown that homosexuality appears to be driven, at least in part, by a variety of hereditary factors. The gender roles adopted by men and women seem to be influenced by the sex hormones they were exposed to while developing in the womb. 2. Evolutionary. Evolutionary factors have also been proposed to play a role in human sexuality. In making a case for this, researchers have looked at how human sexual behavior compares to that of other animal species. Thanks for watching, please subscribe, and don't forget to share.